Hi guys, thanks for joining us for some more Real Talk Dog Talk. I'm Tori.
And I'm Barb.
For those of you who haven't joined us before, if you have any questions or comments, you can email us at realtalkdogtalk@yahoo.com.
And if you are a regular listener or emailer, we love hearing from you. And keep those emails coming in. It gives us great ideas for our podcast.
Yes.
Today, Enzo is our only podcast room support.
He is. He's being slightly disruptive already.
Jim is on vacation.
Yeah, they're mad at each other, so he's taking a day off.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
all right. Well, we don't want to get in the middle of that one, or do we?
Well, I karate chop them both, okay?
So, Enzo it is. He's doing a fine job,
He's adorable as always.
even though he is disruptive.
Mm-hmm.
So I was at the vet this week with one of my dogs.
Yep.
And, you know, I love our vet clinic and I think they do an amazing job. They always get us in. They're just a really good clinic. So I certainly don't want this to come across negative.
Right.
But they wanted to put a muzzle on Minty because they were going to draw some blood from her.
Yeah, I don't love that.
And yeah, I wasn't a real fan of it, and she was kind of upset when I said no, and she said she didn't want to get bit, and I assured her I did not want her to get bit either.
Well, yeah.
It looks bad for my dog, and it would hurt her, so no, I didn't really want to have that happen either.
It's a lose-lose situation.
Yeah, and she was kind of upset that I said no. With my particular breed of dogs, since they've never really been introduced to a muzzle, I personally felt like it would heighten their reaction to getting poked with a needle.
Oh, yeah. Well, I feel like that just sets them, initially, just right off the bat, puts them on guard, yeah.
Yeah, I think that is correct. So I did say no, and as we were drawing blood and she was kind of behind me holding Minty's leg, I started thinking this would be a great thing to talk about on our podcast.
Yep, yeah.
And, you know, the first thing I always tell people is you really have to be responsible for your dog's behavior.
Right. It is your responsibility. I mean, you can't blame the dog.
No, because you're the lead person, the person that knows your beans,
Yep.
supposedly.
Yeah.
And you can't just say, hey, he's a great dog at home, he'll never bite you. Because even if that is a true thing, the person you're talking to is afraid of your dog.
Right. Yep.
And you have to be responsible enough to know that they're concerned, afraid, reluctant to, deal with your dog, especially in a vet clinic situation.
Right.
So, of course, I held the dog as much as possible so they could get the blood without any hassles. But, I thought really to talk about muzzling a dog, I thought would be a good topic because I don't think typically most people do muzzle their dogs.
Right.
And I don't know in a clinic situation, how many they do in a day, they actually muzzle them. But it's been my experience too that when I did work in a vet clinic, I've mentioned that before, but usually the little dogs just freak out when you put a muzzle on them. They just start going crazy at their nose with their paws and flipping around, doing their old flailing thing. And so I really don't know that it's a great first choice. I mean, if, the initial attempt fails, then maybe a secondary option is to do a muzzle.
Right. Well, and a lot of the stuff because I'm not super well versed on muzzles myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to do a little bit of looking on, different, muzzles in general, actually. But a lot of it is they just really stress that it is a temporary tool. It is mainly just for emergency situations or if your dog does actually have a history of biting.
Right.
If not, then you should kind of exhaust every other option first
Mhm.
before you go ahead and put a muzzle on them, because it can cause a negative reaction and further anxiety.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, and those are some good points. You know, I have talked in the past about kennel training, how it's important to do, even if you don't want to kennel a dog, you know, if you ever have to take him to the vet,
hmm
they put them in a kennel and they need to be able to have them in there and get them out without any hassles. The one thing I found on the internet myself, I know what I think of muzzles, I know how I feel about them, but I was reading some of the benefits to using a muzzle, and one of them was actually the vet clinic staff, in which, you know, really, I guess if you do, you know, prior to any vet visits, teach your dog to accept a muzzle.
hmm
And if you do have a dog, like you say, with a history of biting, or one that is maybe a, you know, a scary breed, we'll call it,
hmm
then they can accept it more easily and get the process done.
Right.
You know, whatever you're in there for. So, I mean, maybe that is something to be thought through, is that maybe not kennel training, sorry, muzzle training is an important thing, just as far as them being able to be muzzled in situations like in a vet clinic.
Right, just desensitize them to that. Because if they do, for whatever reason, have to, yeah, they're not going to be flipping out and, you know, all that. Yeah, it'll be...
They'll be acclimated to a muzzle ahead of the actual need.
Right.
So I thought that was, you know, that kind of runs in line with my thinking on kennel training, is that it makes it easier for a vet situation. So honestly, I guess I never really knew anyone at the vet clinic was concerned about my dogs. They've never had any problems with them, so
Right.
did catch me off guard. So, you know, there again, you're looking more preventatively.
hmm
It might not be a bad idea to actually muzzle train your dogs.
Right. I would be lost in that situation, because none of my dogs, I mean,
Yeah, they would not like it.
yeah, if I had... So, I should probably take that advice myself, and,
Right.
you know.
Well, and like I said, I wasn't aware that anyone was concerned about my dogs there, but, you know, there again, you have to think preventatively.
Right.
When you are muzzle training a dog, I found a few tips on that. First off, you need to show them the muzzle so they're familiar with what it is. And then always use high value treats when you're training your dogs. That's something I always talk about, is high value treats.
Yep.
And then what you want to do is place the treats just inside of the muzzle, so that the dog gets used to, like, dipping his nose in for the treat.
You're not making them, they're choosing to.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you just put the treat a little further in it as
Oh, nice.
the training progresses.
Yeah.
And with the final thing, you know, you don't want to just immediately strap it on, but get it used to having it on their nose.
Mm-hmm.
And then teaching them about the strap and the clipping of it is almost a separate part of the training.
Oh.
So really, once you have the muzzle on their face and they're okay with it and they're getting their treats out of it and it's not such a scary thing,
Mm-hmm.
then you have to get them used to the straps going around their head, and little at a time, then you clip it. So
I wouldn't have thought of that part, actually, being
Right.
but that makes sense, though. It's different pressure, different area.
yeah, well, and their nose is pulling on the back of their head. It's just not their normal feeling.
Yeah.
But one of the keys is to take it very slow and easy and use the high value treats. So there is a method to muzzle training.
Yeah.
If you have clinics that are big into the muzzles.
Well, and some of the things that I read that people use muzzles for is chewing and barking also, not just the biting and vet visits and stuff. And I don't know if I really agree with that, because I feel like there's probably better ways to train them, you know, from doing that besides the muzzle. And they did mention that, you know, if you feel like you're having to do that for those types of behaviors and stuff, maybe you want to contact a professional, a trainer or something, who they can help you maybe figure out a different way,
Right.
instead of using the muzzle, because that's that's not what they should be used for.
Well, and a muzzle is a restraint.
Right.
And there are certain breeds of dogs that, fight any kind of restraint.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to teach the dog to think, to not bark.
Right.
Well, and that's funny you found that, because I
Mhm.
did find one of the benefits they had down is to keep your dog from eating poop when they're outside, put a
Oh.
muzzle on them.
Oh.
And I thought, no, that would probably stop them for sure.
That could go a couple ways in my mind.
Or you're going to get poop squished into your muzzle. I don't know how that would go, but so yeah, there's people that use them for other things besides bite situations.
Yeah, which I was not aware of. I guess I didn't
Mhm.
realize that was something that people had done, because I'm not a fan of muzzles, so I
Mhm.
guess maybe that's why, but
Well, it's definitely something to think about. Also, another thing that they use them for is post-surgery or injuries.
oh, yeah.
Instead of using like a cone on their head, they'll muzzle them so they aren't licking at a surgical site or an injury.
Yeah, that would make sense.
That I could kind of see.
And
So-
that, what I read too, you have to be careful too using the muzzles that keep their mouth closed, because that is how they control their heat. So you need to make sure that the dog's not too hot and can't pant
Right.
and all that too.
So if you're using it longer term than
Mhm.
for a quick blood draw or something like that,
Yeah.
you definitely want to have it sized correctly so they can breathe.
Yep. You want it sized correctly, and then there are a few different types. So.
Let's see. One of the interesting things that they said it was a benefit for, and I thought was kind of, I guess, I'm not sure what to make of it, but they were saying that when you're out with a dog that has some anxiety and isn't real friendly, if you use a muzzle, it keeps people from wanting to pet them. So it's basically making them think it's a vicious dog.
I'm not sure if that's. I mean, I could see that being effective, although I'm not sure if that's how I would want to deter people from this dog is mean and scary. Don't come over here.
Which is probably what they are thinking if they see that.
Probably. Oh. I don't know.
You don't like that one?
That is terrible.
Uh,
I mean, makes sense. I get it, but poor dogs
yeah.
just want to be loved.
Yeah, I don't know. So, but yeah, that was just one of the benefits they had mentioned. That's not one of my benefits, but
Yeah.
Also when you're thinking about muzzles, I guess, it kind of goes into a little bit bigger area, but there are states that have laws on muzzles.
So there's like 75 breeds that are banned in the U.S. Throughout the states. I don't know if that's just for muzzles or if it's for different things.
Well, actually, there's, it actually gets to, I was reading on that as well this morning at 5 a.m. And honestly, there is actually, that gets into a really in-depth discussion. There are some states that have breed-specific legislation, BSLs. And it requires certain so-called dangerous breeds to wear a muzzle when not on private property. So it is directed towards certain breeds that they feel are dangerous. And I don't know about which ones. I would bet money the King Corso falls on that list.
Oh, I'm sure.
Or I should say Cane Corso. And the thing is there is, I was looking at how many states, the states have so many different BSLs that I'm not even, it'd take forever to break down which ones have what restrictions. And there are some states that do not allow certain dogs in their states.
Right.
So it gets pretty complex when you start breaking it all down, what their breed-specific legislations are. I did find some common restrictions under the BSL. One is muzzling your dog while in public, and of course this applies to certain dangerous breeds. Spaying and neutering, containing a dog in a specified kennel with specific features such as concrete floors, certain types of chain link walls. Dog on leash, having liability insurance of predetermined amount. So it's not even something that you choose. They will tell you, I guess according to the breed, the amount of insurance you'd have to have. Also, even hanging a vicious dog sign at your home. And then the last one I found was, and I'm not sure what this is, it's having the dog wear a vision dog tag.
Is that for blind people?
That would be my first thought, but I don't think it is. And then it says, or identifying marker. So I don't know if they're saying identifying them as a vicious dog or exactly. I'm not real clear on that last one. But I guess in all reality, when you're starting to get to the point where you want to do some, purchase a dog, you need to look at the breed and check with your state on the legislation that pertains to any breed you're picking. And see if they have requirements for muzzles or specific tags or even enclosures. Because some of these kind of threw me for a loop.
Yeah. Well, and there's laws on ear cropping and tail docking and stuff too in different states. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different laws and stuff that involve dogs that you really kind of got to be aware of when you're choosing a dog.
Yeah.
In general.
Well, I knew there were certain breed restrictions in states, but like as far as I guess spay neutering I thought was optional. I guess in some states it's not. Muzzles I had no idea were actually required on certain breeds. So I guess when I see posts on Facebook anymore where the dog has a muzzle going for a walk, maybe they're in a state that require that. I don't know.
They might. I didn't know that they were required either until I started looking into it here. So that's a whole new thing to me. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of them, and I just don't think it's very nice, honestly.
Well, it's true. The thing is I guess because I am a responsible person, if I have a dog that I feel is questionable as far as how they would interact with total strangers, I would probably not take them in public. I would choose to take them in the country for their walks or in an area where there are not, passerbyers. I wouldn't take them in a store.
Well, that to me that just causes more stress for the dog when it's not necessary. If there's a way to get them out without having them around that stuff, if that's what they're more comfortable with, then yeah, I feel like that's kind of more the route to go than
right.
Put something on their face to keep them.
Well, I have a family that purchased a puppy from me, and they do not take that dog off their property.
Yeah.
They're farmers, and the dog is always at their house or on their property, and they have the vet come out and give him his shots at their house.
Oh.
Their belief is that the house is there to be the dog is there to be a guardian to their house, and that is what he wants. He wants them to focus on their property. And that is a dog that I would probably never take into a store.
I wouldn't take that. At this point, you almost couldn't take him anywhere.
No.
I mean...
And that's fine. That was the purpose of them having that dog, was for being at home to watch over things.
Right.
So, you have to think about that too. And that particular individual does take all measures to make sure that, the vet comes in, takes care of the dog there. It's just, you have to be responsible with your own dog and know what their comfort level is.
Right, yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, if you're never going to take your dog anywhere and you can work with the vet to get them out there, hey, more power to you.
Yeah.
If that's what works best for you and all that stuff, I personally think that you should, I mean, heaven forbid anything happened, but, if that dog had to go anywhere, that'd be impossible.
When I worked at the vet clinic and we had a dog that was not real compliant with getting shots or pokes, one of us would walk the dog partway out the door,
Mm-hmm.
and then we would close the door at the halfway mark on his body,
Oh, yeah.
and we'd stay there with him, and then one of the other people would go from behind the dog and give it the shot or whatever it needed, and if the dog would turn to bite at the person, he wouldn't be able to do it because there was a door there.
Right.
We didn't shut the door tight. It
Right.
was just a blocker.
Yeah. A barrier.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think, if you think it through, there's other methods. Like at the vet clinic, I know when I have to have a dog sedated for x-rays or anything along that line, I usually get down on my knee and put my other knee under their belly, and then I hold them up against a wall so that if they turn back when they get poked, they're turning it at me,
Right.
and they aren't gonna bite me.
No.
That won't happen, I know.
Right.
And that way it's not putting any of the staff at risk either.
Right.
And now that my knees are old and bad, I take you with me.
Yes. I get down there, which my knees aren't that good either, so.
We're in trouble.
Yeah, we are.
Where's Daytrip?
I know, I was going to say we got to get Daytrick in on these vet visits here.
We're gonna have to train him in.
Yep.
But, so there are other methods to, controlling. Hats off to the vet people that are dealing with hundreds of animals every week and, are dealing with our sick and injured and, even just doing updated shots on our dogs. I mean, they really are troopers. I think they do an amazing job. So, no disrespect to them.
Right.
Just kind of, I like to think in terms of, using the muzzle as a last resort.
Right. Which I think Enzo is marked down as aggressive, and he's like one of the nicest dogs you'll ever meet. I'm not sure what went on there, but I'm like.
Well, I can tell you, because they told me.
Oh.
When they opened the kennel door to get him out, he growled at them.
Oh no.
So they used a catch pole on him. And he spun like an alligator.
Well, yeah. Oh my gosh.
So he was non-compliant.
Wow.
And
that's my boy.
And the thing is, as I heard them tell the story, if they maybe would have opened the gate and just called him out, he probably would have walked out fine.
Oh, I'm sure.
But I think strangers reaching in and grabbing him when he's in a safe kennel, because he is trained.
Yep.
Or kennel trained.
Yep.
But they didn't let him come out on his own. They were going to get him out, and I think that was where their mistake was.
Well, yeah, you gotta, with him, I mean, I know they don't always have all day, but you gotta let him come to you.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean.
And that's not uncommon. A lot of dogs, they feel like the crate or the kennel is a safe place.
Yep.
So you go reaching in to grab them, and they're not going to like it.
No.
Because you're getting into their safe spot.
Yeah. I mean, but he is like the night, I mean, no, I don't know what that's about. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. So that is the story on that. He was in for his neuter.
Yeah.
And that was what transpired. And actually now that, the vet clinic knows us and we're regulars and we have many dogs coming and going, puppy litters coming and going, we have, told them we'll sit until, they're ready to sedate them for surgery. So
yep.
we don't let that happen. And there again, that's looking at an alternative instead of, having them use a catch pole on them or anything.
Right.
We have an alternative plan, which is for us to plan the day,
yep,
being available for whatever they need help with there.
Well, and it just goes so much smoother because they already know us, they feel safe with us. So, yeah, if we're holding them while they get a shot, I mean, it's going to go just fine.
Yeah. And then once they're sedated for any procedures or x-rays, whatever the case may be, I mean, they can take it from there. They know what they're doing.
Right.
They do a good job. So, I think you have to think in terms of alternative methods, and I think you have to be respectful of the vet staff when they are apprehensive to deal with your dog.
You definitely have to take it into consideration when they're not. I mean, they deal with animals all day, so if they're feeling nervous, I mean, there could be a reason why. Who knows what it is, but
They might have just gotten bit by a chihuahua.
right, yeah. I mean, so you give them a little, throw them a bone, would you?
Not literally.
No,
No.
no.
But so it's always good to think of an alternative method, but maybe it's not a bad idea to do some muzzle training for if they ever do have to be muzzled. Not something I've really ever thought through till I read some of these tips and articles on muzzles. I'm not a fan of them. I would not be using one on a regular basis, but
Right.
Yeah.
I don't own one. I've never owned one.
We've had them when you're little,
Oh.
but they weren't really worth anything. We didn't really.
Yeah. I think, well, I don't know. Enzo, he's not, air quotes, muzzle trained.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if Dietrich put anything on his face, he'd probably let him.
Well, that's because Dietrich puts blankets on his head.
He does, and necklaces on him. He was
Oh.
wearing a necklace the other day.
Oh. Did it match his eyes?
It did.
Yeah.
It really brought out the brown. So, he's had pipe cleaners made into all sorts of stuff hanging off his face. So,
So, the trick is to have an 11-year-old little boy help you.
yeah, just bug him. Just bug him all the time.
Well, that is a very unique tip.
And I did not find that in a type of muzzle, but maybe it should be on the list.
Well, you might have to write something up for the internet so other people
have
are privy to your ideas.
Pipe cleaner muzzle. Yes, please.
Made with love by your children.
Yeah. Is it going to hold anything? Absolutely not.
Though, when I was in working in the vet clinic, I actually didn't really like the muzzle because it kind of gave me a false sense of security. Some of those dogs can slip out of them so fast.
Oh.
And I would rather almost know that dog might bite me.
Yeah.
And then I would be careful, I'd handle the situation differently.
Mm-hmm.
Where if they have a muzzle on and I think everything's A-okay, and
Right.
I'm just going to, do this thing and they'll be out of here,
Mm-hmm.
and they slip out of that and they get me because I wasn't paying attention.
Right.
I almost feel like sometimes not using a muzzle, you know what you're dealing with, and you're kind of you're kind of on your toes for anything that could possibly happen.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So that's kind of my own personal feeling with working with dogs. I've never successfully used a muzzle. I think they always slip them off. So we always did the door method.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
kinda-
and like I said, I've never even used one. I mean, and if there has been one used around near me, I
don't
could,
remember.
yeah, I can so.
Yeah, that might have been a failed process.
Yeah, it could have been.
Didn't work. Didn't work.
Yeah, who cares anyhow?
Well, and that's, there again, I mean, that might be, it's kind of an eye-opener that maybe training them for a muzzle is a really good way to be prepared if ever they need one.
Right.
You were talking about something you read about, what was it you were saying? Something about, if you come upon a sick or injured animal to put one on?
Oh, yeah, one of the big reasons that I found that people do use a muzzle, which I don't really know how many people carry one with. But if an animal is injured, you don't know the dog, they're injured, you can use a homemade muzzle, which you can use, I mean, gauze, they said pantyhose, and then, I mean, you could even the leash, really anything that is, thin like that you could wrap around the muzzle and then tie around the back of the head. Now, as I was online reading this, they said you can find instructions for it online. So, online.
You already were online.
I was online, so I'm thinking, well, where's it at then? But, pretty straightforward. You could imagine how, wrapping around the muzzle.
Run it behind the head.
Yeah. And those really should only be used in an emergency situation. Like a dog has been hurt and, it's a, kind of a serious situation where you kind of just need that dog to for sure not be biting at anybody.
Well, and honestly, if you do muzzle training, which I'm not really promoting it, like I said, it's kind of been an eye-opener but if your dog would get hurt and the vet or the vet techs don't have time to, delve into whether it's, a safe dog or a not safe dog, and they just put a muzzle on them for their own safety,
right.
If you've already got them muzzle trained, then they'll accept that a lot better. When you have an injured animal, it's really not a good time to teach them about a muzzle.
Right.
And I know the gal at my vet clinic said that she felt like the muzzle would distract my dog and she wouldn't notice she was being poked. But I'm pretty sure it would have just made her mad and she would have really not let you poke her.
Well, it would have distracted her, but I don't think, it wouldn't have made the situation any better at all.
No, I don't think so. So, I guess if you did do some muzzle training, if your dog ever ended up in a pickle where you weren't handy to, help control them or anything, that, they'd be prepared for the possibility of needing a muzzle.
Right, yeah.
So, I guess that is definitely a little food for thought on that. It's got my wheels spinning on, whether I should teach my dogs to be okay with the muzzle. And, one thing they said in one, I don't even remember which article, I think it was on preventative preventative vet.
Okay.
Excuse me. But they said that it's a good idea when you're training them to leave it on them a little bit around the house and that.
Oh, sure.
So that they get used to wearing it. And I don't know how I feel about that so much, but I could certainly see putting it on them just to teach them it's okay.
Yeah, I don't think I'd probably leave it on for really any amount of time besides, just kind of clipping it, rubbing their head with it on a little bit, just coming to be like, it's okay, this is all right.
No, it's not a pipe cleaner.
Right, it's not a pipe cleaner.
This is the real deal.
Unless you prefer that, I guess.
And you said that there's different types of muzzles.
There are. So the two main kinds, one of them is the homemade, but then there's two other kinds that are just typically what you'll find there's the basket muzzle. It is what it sounds like. It looks like a basket strapped to your dog's face. These are more comfortable for dogs because they can pant, their mouth is open, and they can still move like normal. They just can't. They wouldn't be able to eat obviously or drink, but they have a lot more freedom that way.
Can they drink with those on or not really?
No.
So
I guess they
wouldn't want to have them on very long.
No, especially in the warm weather too, because you'd want to make sure that they could. Because even if they stick their face in a dish of water, they could maybe get a little, but you really wouldn't be able to.
Just enough to wet their whistle, not so much to rehydrate.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep. And then the other kind is a soft muzzle. They're less comfortable, which I was a little surprised by that. I guess I would have thought that would have been more comfortable because it's made of like fabric or canvas or those kinds of materials. But that does hold the mouth shut. So they can't eat, bark, any of the stuff. And that's where you want to be careful with putting them on, leaving them on your dog because they can't pant.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's warm out, they're not able to regulate their heat. That is how they do that. So when you stop, prevent them from doing that, you really want to make sure you're watching so that you're not leaving it on too long or.
Now the ones that are soft, those have an open end, don't they?
Correct. Yep.
So they could get little drinks of water through that one more.
I mean, they wouldn't be able to open their mouth to drink it. From what I found, it keeps their mouth closed, so they can't chew, they can't nothing. Just keeps their mouth shut. People use them for, like I had said, chewing and barking and stuff like that too. But,
I don't know how I feel about that one.
It says they can be dangerous.
Well, sure.
Yeah. So.
Well, I know the soft ones are usually the ones they use in the vet clinics I'm aware of, and I know that's very short time frame, as far as taking their blood or giving them a vaccination or sedation, that sort of thing. So.
Well, and when you're fitting them, you want to make sure that there's one finger between the muzzle and your dog's head.
Okay.
So it's really kind of a snug fit also.
So it's similar to a collar fit.
It is,
That's
yeah.
about what they say for a collar.
Mm-hmm. And then flat-faced dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Like pugs and dogs more like that. You might actually need to get like a custom muzzle because they have
no
nose. Yes. So
what did they do? Strap fabric over their face?
I'm picturing COVID mask style. Like that's kind of. But
I think I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I mean,
that would be interesting for sure.
So they don't just have those everywhere. You gotta do a little looking for the flat-faced muzzles.
I'm gonna Google that when we're done.
And why didn't I? I'm not even sure. 'Cause
I'm so curious. I gotta know now.
I know. So, but yeah. So if you have a flat-faced dog, you might need to go custom. Okay. So.
Well, that is something to think on. I'm getting all sorts of visual images of pugs and different types of dogs that have flat noses that are
Frenchies and bulldogs and
with a COVID mask on them,
right to the front of their face.
Well, anyhow, that's kind of an interesting spot to leave that conversation.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so that is kind of what we were looking through on, having muzzles on your dogs, and I think like with any other dog training, it's an issue of being respectful to other people and paying attention to the needs of your dogs.
Definitely.
And if, your dog does have a need for that type of thing, you have to, size that up and use it properly. And also, you do need to check with your state as far as legislation on breed types and also, vicious dog signs, which, on that, my insurance company told me that if you put a sign on your gate that says, "Beware of dog," you are basically saying that your dog is vicious. That passerbyers or people entering should be careful because your dog could bite them. So you're taking immediate responsibility. You're admitting guilt right off the bat for a dog bite incident. And if you're putting vicious dog signs on your gate, that also seems to me that you're saying, hey, I've got a bad dog here, it could bite you.
Yeah.
So if there is a bite situation, you're immediately taking responsibility or liability for the situation.
Right, before anything's even happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my insurance company said to put a sign up that cautions them that there is a dog in the yard.
Yes.
Dog loose in yard. don't enter, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But not to put it out there that you have a vicious dog or beware of it.
Right.
So I don't know if those states that require that kind of sign specifically want it to say vicious dog, or, you know, there's so many crazy rules out there. I think you really have to be, especially with, you know, dog ownership, you have to be aware of what is allowed in your state or what's not. And with that, I guess you have to also be ready to pick your dog accordingly or be ready to move.
Well, right. You know, I don't know. I mean, to me, why would you want your dog to be vicious? I've never understood that. So, I mean, putting a sign on your fence that says, you know, I mean, when I hear vicious dog sign, I think my dog's going to kill you if you come in this yard. You know, it's
Right.
pretty serious statement there.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, why would you even want to put that out there that you would have a dog like that? You know,
Mm-hmm.
Mine says something like, do not enter dogs in yard or something like that.
Right. Well, and my sign says dogs loose in yard.
Right,
So,
yeah.
Do not enter.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think there's alternative things you can say, but I think you
Mm-hmm.
need to be aware of what is and is not allowed for your state,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be muzzles, leashes, signs. You just need to research that information before you take on any new pets, because you certainly don't want to have them for 6 months and then find out that you have to rehome them
Right.
in another state.
Well, yeah. And honestly, until I started looking up this, I didn't realize there were so many laws involving dogs throughout the country. I mean, it's like you said, I mean, we could go on for days, I think, on all that stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's 75 breeds, you said,
Yep,
that have certain restrictions.
yep.
Some are banned from certain states.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, you definitely want to be looking that stuff up when you start thinking, you know, dogs aren't cheap anymore.
No, they're really not.
So you don't want to make that purchase and then find out that there's an issue with that. So
Right.
it's important to take a good look at what is okay and not okay in your state.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that does stem from irresponsible dog ownership. So it's best to be one of those that is responsible and, you know, gathers your information.
Yep. Well, it's like we were saying on our last podcast, you know, you don't want to be the reason that the fun stuff gets taken away for everybody.
That is true. Yeah, absolutely. That is important, because there's really, people are opting to not have children,
Mm-hmm.
but have multiple dogs.
Right. I don't
So-
blame them. I mean, I love my kid, and I'm glad I have him, but I get what they're saying.
You can't put a kid in a kennel.
You can't. You can't do it.
And I'm going to say this, when they hit teenage years,
Mm.
you're going to want a giant kennel.
Mm-hmm. You are.
So
Yeah.
kids can be challenging.
Yeah. It's, I'm glad, well, we should have been putting kennels, but I'm glad she didn't.
It's against the law.
Oh, it is against the law.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
You might want to know that before Dayton hits teenage years. But
And he's 11 now, so
Uh-oh.
I
Yeah.
know.
TikTok.
Yeah. It's, oh.
Yeah. So anyhow, that is the information that we have come upon for muzzles, and it's kind of a issue that has been on my mind. Well, not just on my mind, but now I've got other things running through my head as far as some of the stuff we actually came upon in our research. So it's not even just about the vet visit, it's about all this stuff that we actually have read. And you know, you've said it too, we actually learn quite a bit when we're doing our research on stuff. So
Yeah.
even though we tell the world we know it all, we really don't.
Mhm. It's one of those, you know, I'm not explaining to you why you're wrong. I'm telling you why I'm right. Okay.
But now we're finding we aren't, and
Right.
we don't know it all. So it's just great really getting the information, and that's part of the reason for the podcast, is
Yeah.
to help everybody learn more.
Well, and it's fun and interesting, and I mean, like like you said, I mean, it's things that we haven't even thought of too that are
Yeah.
coming from you guys. So,
Well, kennel training is a basic kind of
mhm.
well-known thing, and here I found out that there's muzzle training,
Right, yeah.
which makes some sense to me. Even
Mhm.
though I'm not a fan of muzzles, it does make sense.
Well, and after doing the looking and stuff like that, I mean, I feel like, wow, maybe I should get my dogs used to it. Just, I mean,
Just in case.
yeah. I mean, just things
Another
like that.
preventative training.
Right. Why not? It's
Yeah.
just good to have.
So I think that's about all I know on muzzles, and I think we'll wrap it up with that.
Perfect. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and email us at realtalkdogtalk@yahoo.com.
And thank you for joining us again, and we hope that you'll be here for our next podcast.
Bye.
Goodbye.